This lecture is completely optional. If you didn't have any issues with DNS, then you can skip this lecture, or you can come back to it later on if you realize that at some point your cluster doesn't work because you have an issue with DNS. In this demo, I will show you a little bit about DNS troubleshooting. COPs need to have DNS working properly, otherwise you cannot start your cluster, or you can sometimes start your cluster but not connect to it. So here in this lecture, I will talk a little bit about DNS troubleshooting. On a machine that you are using COPs, a Linux machine, you can use the program host. You first need to make sure that host is installed. So you can use sudo apt install byte9 host. In my case, it's already installed. So now you can use the executable host. To make sure that the name servers are properly set, you can do host -t ns. NS stands for name server of, in my case, Kubernetes New Tech Academy. You can see that the name servers of this name, Kubernetes New Tech Academy, point to the root 53 zone. If this doesn't return the Amazon name service of your root 53, then something is not working. In root 53, you also need to make sure that the reply of the name servers also matches exactly this. So these are specific name servers for this zone. You cannot use my name service because yours will be different. The reason why this resolving works, this host -tns, is because I put these records in place in the DNS control panel of Namecheap. Let's say that you don't use Namecheap and that you only use AWS root 53. Well, then you need to create a hosted zone. For example, I will create a hosted zone for New Tech Academy. And I will click create. And this New Tech Academy has different name servers. And still, if I go back to my terminal, even though I created this public host name, if I do host TNS of New Tech Academy, it will still point to registerservers.com, which is Namecheap, because Namecheap is still responsible for the name servers. So if I do wish, which is not a tool of this domain name, I can see that the name servers are set on this register. So if you want to host your full domain name on Amazon, which is not necessary, but if you want, then you need to change the name servers in Namecheap, not in the DNS management, but there's also an option name servers, and every domain provider has that option where you can change the name servers. And then you have to point the name servers to these name servers. Then your domain name points to this hosted zone, but that doesn't mean that this hosted zone will work automatically. Then you have to still create name server records that point from your main domain name, New Tech Academy, to Kubernetes New Tech Academy. So then you can copy those, go to New Tech Academy, and then create a record set. And then this is going to be Kubernetes New Tech Academy, and the value will be these name servers. And this is going to be an NS record. And then you're going to have Kubernetes New Tech Academy is going to point to your other root 53 zone. So this is only necessary if you want to host your main domain as well on Amazon, because then you need to make sure that you register, your domain register uses these records because these are from your main domain, and that you add also here, just like I did in the previous lecture, records and S records to point to Kubernetes New Tech Academy. The third option is that you don't use Kubernetes New Tech Academy, you don't use a subdomain, but you just pass this main domain name as a cluster name and as a DNS name. And then you will have, and then you don't have Kubernetes New Tech Academy, so you can remove this record. Then you only need this, and then you use your main domain name as a cluster name and as a DNS name. And then you will have api.newtechacademy instead of api.kubernetes.newtechacademy. So that's the third option that you can use. The best option is to use, like I explained in the previous lecture, you often have a DNS management at your domain register, and then you can just add this NS record. If that's not possible, You can create a second hosted zone for your main domain name, and then you can also add an NS record to Kubernetes New Tech Academy. So that all works. So then at the end, when you do all this configuration, then you need to check whether host NS New Tech Academy resolves to the correct one, and Kubernetes New Tech Academy resolves to the correct root 53 zone. So in my case, it first goes to my register, and my register I have a DNS record set that points to my hosted zone, my root 53 hosted zone. So I hope this makes it a little bit more clear. DNS is not an easy topic. You might have to spend some time to set this up. Also, when you set this up, it might take another 30 minutes, 1 hour before those changes are propagated. So these records might be cached sometimes. So sometimes you just have to wait half an hour, 1 hour before you get the correct results.